Spain, who've passed a law allowing non-EU nationals Spanish residency if they buy themselves a nice expensive house.
Yeah, I mean, Spain's one of those countries, huge debt issues. It needs a cash injection. And it also has an overhang of property. What does that mean? It's basically built 1 million more properties than it needed.
You only have to wander around Spain to see them all.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of empty properties. And this is it's an interesting policy, isn't it, to try and solve both of those issues. If you buy a property of 500,000 euros or more, which is about £420,000, you can stay in Spain for 12 months. You can then get a further 2-year residency permit, which is renewable every 2 years, as long as the investment stays at that £420,000 threshold.
You mean if you lose money?
Yeah, if the property market has another
your property
crash,
goes down, suddenly you can't stay there either.
I guess you have an incentive to buy particularly expensive properties.
Make sure.
Protect yourself against your passport.
Yeah.
It is a fascinating policy, this. Alexander Vaughan is co-founder and director at Lucas Fox Estate Agents, based in Barcelona in Spain. Alexander, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, do you think this will have an effect to get people to buy? I mean, is there optimism surrounding this policy?
Yeah, there's a lot of optimism, actually. It's something that was mooted about a year ago and has just been passed now. I should stress that the main target isn't at European nationals, obviously. It's really aimed at non-EU citizens, particularly Chinese, Russians, Americans, who really have problems getting residency in Europe normally. And the idea is that through this investment, they can stay in Europe and travel freely within the Schengen zone.
Yeah, of course, because this isn't just a residency permit for Spain, is it? It's a residency permit for the 26-country Schengen zone.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah. How are people in Spain on lower incomes feeling about this policy? Because obviously there's been a lot of suffering, huge unemployment, and essentially a kind of fast track to citizenship is being offered to rich people.
Yeah, not really citizenship. I mean, there's a distinction between resident and citizenship. But the general feeling in Spain is positive about this law. When they originally suggested bring it out, they were talking about a much lower limit, 160,000 euros, which I guess is approximately £120,000. And there's quite a lot of opposition to that. But I think people are happy with the higher limit. And generally, people can see it as a positive step.
And is that an important distinction to make? The one you made, people have been given residency, and even if they roll that over for 2 years after 2 years after 2 years, you think this current policy means they wouldn't get Spanish nationality?
No, the two processes are separate. Actually,
Right.
One is citizenship and one is residency. So, in order to get citizenship, you have to fill other criteria, which aren't normally linked to financial investment.
And I guess the idea is, as well, as if these are rich Russians or Chinese, they would spend quite a lot of time at this property, and that would filter into the local economy. That wealth would kind of proliferate outwards. I guess that's the hope.
Well, exactly. I mean, I guess a lot of your listeners are very accustomed to what's happened in central London, where there's a huge amount of foreigners investing in high-end property there. And it does definitely have a knock-on effect on the local economy. Just in terms of restaurants, shopping, services, etc., etc.
Do you expect to have any phone calls from places you hadn't had phone calls from before?
Yeah, we're getting phone calls from quite a lot of places, some of which we have had phone calls from before, but there's a lot of interest, actually. I mean, there were similar schemes introduced in Cyprus and Portugal. To give you an idea, about 2,500 Chinese bought properties in Cyprus to take advantage of this law. So we guess that the numbers in Spain will be a lot higher in the next 3 to 4 years.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Alexander Vaughan from Lucas Fox Estate Agents in Barcelona.